Welcome into the SorareAndrews podcast brought to you by SorareData. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdinho on Sorare. Joined as always by Andy Black, who you can find as Black on Sorare. Apologies for the delay for those of you who are joining us live. I just messed something up. It was a simple. Oh, and now I'm already echoing because I had another screen open. But anyway, thank you everyone for joining us live. Surely you already love what you're seeing. So if you could hit the like button, that's always very, very helpful. Andy, today we're going to talk about some reward excitement, and the way that I described the topic to you was like not actually what you thought I meant.
Mm-hmm. I still don't know what you mean. So I'll let you
still don't know. Yeah. So I find the whole reward process really funny with Sorare because depending on where, like which competitions you play, we have the situations where like it's possible that you don't have any idea who the player is that you just won. And then you find out that they're worth like $1,000 and you're just like, wow, okay, that's fun. And I was trying to think yesterday about how many rewards I've won that I was like really excited about before looking up like how much they cost. And I realized that it really just doesn't happen that often. That like you end up winning a card that you really wanted and like you knew you wanted it and like that was it. Like there are times where I've won rewards where I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, and then you look it up and you're like, oh, he's actually really good. Cool. All right. And our friend Sean had like a big win this past game week, and it's a card that he really wanted and he finally won it. And I don't want to give him too much credit or time on this, so I'm not even going to say what it was. But how many times?
He plays for Bayern. He's a midfielder.
He's a midfielder, yeah. So, but it also reminded me of our good friend Gator Guy, because he had previously had like a big reward and was unexcited about it. There's a little bit of some more detail on that I'll get to in a second. But first off, how many times have you won a card and you saw it pop up and you were like, yes, that's the card I wanted?
I'd say that's okay. I've got a two-part answer. So, a lot because I get excited over stupid things.
Okay.
So, I don't know. There's been like tier 3 guys that I've won, and I'm just like, I was looking at that guy, and I'm fist pumping. Where it's, like the oldest one that I can think of is I won Thomas Henry. I think that's his name. I hope I got that right. And yeah, I think he plays somewhere like in Serie A now. Verona. But I remember I won him when he was with some Belgian team, and it was a tier 3 reward, which I think at the time he should not have been in the tier 3 pool. But it was a card I had like been looking at, and I was wanting to buy it, and whatever. I kept talking myself out of not paying for it, and then I won it, and that was definitely like a fist bump. So that's typically those ones that like I've been excited for, is like cards that like I was considering buying, or like it goes with a stack, so it's like, oh, might as well just keep them, like a lot of those types of guys. But like the second part of that answer is I'm never like truly satisfied unless I actually win. So like, and I know that's not really part of the answering the question that you're asking, but like if I finish like second or third or eighth or whatever, it's the same to me as like 100th place. Like I get really mad, and I'm like trying to find like Opta, things that are like, they missed a tackle on Bruno this week and I should be in first, and just I play to win the game. So like unless I win the division, and that's probably a super whaley answer.
Sounds pretty whaley, yeah.
Yeah, but like that's the goal of the game, right? Is to win. So like unless I win, I'm like disappointed.
No, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I'll say that like it made me think back of like when I won my first reward, and then
Austin
like my
Trusty?
what's that?
Was it Trusty?
No, so it was Joan Umari. It was a
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it was a tier 3 out of Champion Asia D4 at the time.
What's Joan up to now? No
Uh,
clue, huh?
no idea. Um, Trusty was my third reward. I'm looking at this now, and he was a tier 2, so he was like the first one. Because I remember when I won this tier 3, and this is early, like somewhat early, game week 154, and there were a few people that we talked to that were like, with tier 3s, like anything can happen. So don't like get too excited, but like you get excited because it was my first reward. And then the irony that it came in Asia D4 is really something too. Trusty was my first tier 2, and I remember not feeling like immediate disappointment, but it was like I wasn't thrilled. He was like okay at the time. I didn't play under 23s. He was just like some center back from the Colorado Rapids. And I was like, okay, tier 2, I was expecting a little more. It wasn't until I'm trying to scroll through to my, so it wasn't until game week 176. This is how long like it's been that I got like my first reward of somebody that I was actually going to buy. And it was a Jonathan Mensah rare card, which I believe I still have actually.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, oh, I was actually going to buy this card. And I was just waiting to like get up enough ETH to buy it. And I won it. And I was like, cool. Like, this is great. This is a lot of fun. I wish I could do this more often. And it really wasn't until later that it really dawned on me that it's so unbelievably rare to win a card that you were thinking of buying, or a card that you like really, really wanted. And I'm like scrolling through some of my older rewards here.
I know why that is, because the cards that you already want, you already bought, and then you win the duplicate of the card that you already bought.
So it's so funny you say that, because that's exactly where I was going with this. That apparently in game week 178, I won a tier 1 in America. It was called Division 3 back then, and it was Kasper Shabilko, who I had like bought a week earlier. And I was like, I don't need this card anymore, but like, thank you for giving it to me.
Didn't you win a duplicate Reynoso too?
Not Reynoso. It was
you just bought 2 Reynosos.
I don't think it was Reynoso, was it?
I think you bought 2 of them.
Did I have 2 Emmanuel Reynoso?
Really? I think so, yeah.
I don't remember having 2, but it's certainly possible. So the only other time I can remember winning a card. So, I hate how this all is coming out, but I'm just going to say it anyway. When I won All-Star Rare or D4, whatever it's called back then, and like everyone was like, oh, you're going to get Neymar. And I won Carlos Heel, and I was like, and like that ended up being a fantastic card to have. But it was just like, okay. Was that?
Like right now, would you rather have Neymar?
Of course. There is not a single day where I would have rathered Carlos Heel over Neymar.
Okay. Even when he was hurt.
Weeks after I won, the first place got Tadic. And I was like, oh, I would have liked that card too.
Yeah.
But anyway, the only other card I can remember getting excited that I won because I wanted the card was a Christian Burgess rare card. Shout out to Gator Guy as well. Because I had bought Anthony Morris like a week earlier, and Burgess, they play on the same team. And I was like, oh, that I was thinking of doing this, and I got that card. I have since sold both. But literally, it has happened twice that I have won a card that I wanted to buy and I was excited to win. And it just feels like any other card that I win, I'm just like, oh, how much is it worth? And that's just kind of a weird part of the process and this game that, like, obviously one of the goals is like to win big cards so that you can either use them or sell them to then buy the card you really want. But and like the moves to work on making the reward reveal like more entertaining is great, but it's also like the odds are you're going to get a card that like you're just like, oh, what can I sell it for? And I don't know if that means that I should like hope that I win more different card, expand the cards that I wish I could win so that if I actually land one, then that's it. But I don't know. It's just a weird process that I felt like we should talk about.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the weird thing with it being the quote unquote global game, and if you're playing in either a division that like if I'm playing in Asia, I'm not going to know 90% of the rewards there. Like I was looking through, I think it was Sean's PSU fans uh, results from last week because he won that big card, and I was like, oh, what else did he do well in? And there was like an Asian division, and like he had guys I'll be 100% honest. I didn't know. I've never seen their name before on the platform, slapping scores of 80 to 90 in there. I'm like, okay, who are these guys?
Yeah.
He's playing them in Asia. He's not even playing them in Global All Star. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of the fun of it too. Is like you win one of those guys and you're disappointed, and then you go pull up SorareData and you find out that this Brazilian in Japan is banging out 90s every week.
Totally. Like it reminds me of like so many of Nellis's reward reveals where he's just like, oh, who is this guy? And then all of a sudden it's like 1 ETH for a rare?
Okay.
All 15 of 69? What? Okay. Yes, I agree that part is kind of fun, but that's the regular outcome is like, I don't know who this guy is, or I've heard of him. I wasn't really looking to get him. And I feel like there are a lot of users on the platform who are just like, if I don't get exactly what I want, I'm just going to sell it. And others who are like, oh, I'll play with this. And there are people like Jimmer who keep everything, and which is you win a tier 3 Kikuchi and all of a sudden he's amazing.
Can't all be Jimmer.
It can't all be Jimmer now. But I couldn't decide if this was like, if this has always been like a positive experience of like, okay, it's almost like you're more likely just hoping that you land on a card that's worth a lot as opposed to a card that like you actually want. And theoretically those things should be the same, that like if a card is expensive, then they probably do well in the game. And therefore you probably should have them in your teams. But like
not
most
always
of the time, yeah. So like I referred back to Gator Guy's big win that he had. So I think it was underdog. It was just underdog rare, right? So he won underdog rare a few months ago and got the reward reveal. And the first thing was the French flag. And it's like, if you're on Sorare and you win, you are first place in something, and the reward reveal, it's tough to say, comes out, and that French flag shows, all you think about is Kylian Mbappe. Like, that's it. Lots of fantastic French footballers out there, none of which you are thinking about if you finish first place and you see that flag. So he gets all excited. And then the next one says goalkeeper. And he's just like, ah.
I remember he like dropped his phone or something. He was like,
he was so disappointed at this card. So he ends up winning a Mike Mignon that he sells for 4 ETH. And yet the initial response was just like, oh. But then 2 weeks later, he wins another big, I don't think he won. Let me see. He finished second in underdog. And he wins Lars Unerstal, I don't even say, and is so excited because like that's a card he was actually thinking of buying at some point.
Yeah.
And is worth like half of Mignon. And yet the experiences were completely different in that I can't even say out loud on this show what he said, but he was extremely excited about this big Lars card.
Yeah.
and just crushed at winning Mike Mignon.
Yeah. Ron Romero said, I think player pick would be amazing. And I mean, for the user base, yeah, it would be great because you always dodge the quote unquote landmine.
Yeah.
Um, and you're always likely always going to just choose, what is the most valuable card, I would assume. I mean, people do weird stuff too where they just may want something, but uh, I don't know if they would ever do it. I would love it if they did. I mean, it would fix so many of the uh, and maybe it wouldn't fix so many of the like people being upset with rewards, but at least giving choice. If there's a goalkeeper that just lost his job and two starting goalkeepers, you're probably not choosing the one that just lost his job.
Right.
So, yeah, that would be nice. I don't know how they handle like the jackpot type wins, like when Sean won Kamek. Like, how often is he a choice? He can't always be, always
Right.
be a choice in there, and they would have to really play around with like the way that they, I don't know, the algorithm that chooses those cards.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think that the rewards process is easy for
Yeah,
Sorare, and I think it's actually really difficult.
and that I think player choice makes it even harder
Yeah.
because if and it might actually make rewards worse because if the first place, like Sean for instance, they probably would have given him the option of, commit. Who would even be the next two cards on there, like Venetius
Yeah,
and
maybe.
well, there's no
Messy.
PSG cards yet, so
Oh, right.
uh, let's say
Um,
there was, and it was just like Neymar, Messi, Mbappe.
yeah.
Okay, well, I would assume those immediately aren't available for the second place prize winner, right? So they would
Right.
drop down to like fourth through sixth instead of second through uh, fifth or whatever, and that would just cascade all the way down. And I don't know, maybe it makes rewards worse for everyone, but
I I think wasn't that one of the original progression bar ideas though? Or
what's
was it,
that?
I guess it was less player pick and more like, do you want a card or do you want
Yeah,
to keep going or whatever
do
it is?
you want a threshold payment or do you want a tier three card?
Right. Well, actually, I thought the idea was like, do you want a tier 3 now, or if you reach 250 for another 4 weeks, then you can get a tier 2.
Right, that was one of the ideas, I think.
Right. And I'm guessing that idea dies when you realize that everyone is just like, I'll just wait the 8 weeks for a tier 1 or the 12 weeks for a tier 0. And
Yeah, who's gonna? Well, I don't know. Some people, I mean, might just like to bank rewards, right? It's like
no,
it
that I'm not doubting. It's more just like what happens when you just have too many people who need a star reward this week.
yeah, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't know. Mike Bassam was saying he was very excited to win Joe Willis because he was out of my price bracket. I agree. Like that part is the best, to like being able to win a card that you just don't have the ETH for. And I think it's better that way than winning the card that you don't have ETH for that you also just didn't want. But I guess you sell and then you have the ETH. So there you go.
Yeah,
But
that's the theory, at least.
right. But I don't know. I thought it was worth talking about how weird that the reward process is in terms of like we all want to win rewards, but very rare. Like Quinny's the only one who I know that was like publicly, like he targets rewards. Like he looks through the player pool, the prize pool, and is like, okay, the Celtic cards are here. I'm going to enter here. And
He's
the
a
guy
madman.
actually won the card that he wanted. Like it's absolutely wild that even works. But I like you said you never look at the prize pool.
The only time I'll look at it is like if I'm debating between like two regions or something, and I just want to see how like are the top cards available in that region,
Yeah.
like in gas sometimes, like in the gas super rare division, sometimes they'll give away stars there, but
Yeah.
that pool is usually not, it's not um full, like it doesn't have all of the guys there.
Sure.
So on weeks that it does, though, I might be more apt to play there. But yeah, typically I really don't look at the pools. There's just so much to look at, and even like last week, I had a couple of good results, a couple
Sure
of top
did.
tens. I didn't even look at the pools, and part of it is like I don't want to be let down. Part of it is like definitely don't want to set the expectations too high, but also just like I kind of like the surprise, like the
Mhm.
complete surprise of just like, all right, coming in blind. I don't even know what's available. Let's see.
Yeah, no, I think
There's a fun aspect to that.
there's definitely some fun in that, absolutely, and I think what makes it even harder now is that they are very open that they're, like, willing to change the pools during the week just in case things happen, and so it's almost, like, not even worth looking at the beginning of the week because the card that you think you want may be gone by the time they update the pools or whatnot.
Do, do you do the cheat?
I do it for other people. I don't do it for myself.
Yeah.
Like, it was actually kind of funny with Kimmich this week because I was out and somebody was like, "Oh, wow, Sean won Kimmich." And I was like, I saw the notification, but I didn't like go in. But I almost went in to say congrats to Sean. And then it turned out that that person had done the cheat method. And
Uh,
so Sean didn't know yet. And so I
you
was
would
like,
have
I
ruined
would
the
have felt
surprise.
absolutely horrible if I had ruined that for him.
For those that might
I was
not
gonna
know
say,
what
do we
that
tell
is,
everybody what the cheat method is? Yeah.
yeah, it's like it's after the game week closes, but
Mhm.
before they actually ship the results or ship the rewards.
Yeah.
You can, I guess, go into anyone's gallery, and I usually sort by card level 1, and
You go right to
then
zero.
oh, you can go right to 0, I
Yeah.
guess, yeah. So sort by card level 0, and then you click on the players tab, and you can, I don't know, you can see what cards that person won, basically.
Well, so it lists all the players with a card level of zero.
Yeah,
But you only see in the gallery the cards that they already have, but the
that's
list
right.
includes the card that they are about to win. Um, I definitely don't do it for myself, but I absolutely look for other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I didn't for Sean because I was out. But yeah, that part is fun because then you kind of like know who to like listen for when they talk about like what's coming up. Because like if we knew that Sean had this card, then we'd be like, "Hey, did you open your reward yet? Can you do it?"
Mhm.
Um, yeah. So Mike was saying he did it when Quinny won the Kyogo Super Rare, which is the one I was talking about before. That Quinny like entered that competition in order to win the Kyogo Super Rare, and the guy actually won the Kyogo Super Rare. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's a funny thing to do because like it's not like seeing nothing changes. Like you're gonna get the reward anyway, and yet for some reason I still just wait. There's Quinny. Congrats again, Quinny, on that. So, were there any cards that you've won recently where you were like, I know exactly who this is, I know exactly how much it's worth, and there's no way I'm keeping it?
And there's no way I'm keeping it?
Yeah, like you are on your gallery just waiting for that transfer in progress to end so that you could just list my card.
Yeah, I won Van Sturgen this week, and I was just like, I'm not keeping him. I don't have a use for him.
I don't
He's
even know who
worth
that
too
is.
much compared to like the production that I'll get from him. So it's just like he's an easy one that I'll just ship out.
Who was it?
Uh, Barcelona's keeper, Van Sturgen or
Oh,
whatever.
oh, oh. Ter Stegen.
Yeah, backup goalkeeper for Germany. No
That's
use
correct.
to me. I'm a World Cup guy now.
You don't want to hold on just in case?
No,
No.
I guess Neuer is hurt right now, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't fit, then like, but you know that's like a big card.
Yeah, 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 it's worth a lot of money. So it's like I can take that, and I've got massive issues in Challenger with goalkeeper. So um, I got to make some moves there, and that card will help me make those moves.
Yeah.
So it would be really pointless for me to try to like make something happen with that card.
Sure. Yeah. So that's exactly the experience. Like, sweet, I can sell this card for a lot.
Right, right. I made the mistake in Challenger of having two goalkeepers from the same team, and I didn't have that goalkeeper handcuffed. I actually had two of the same goalkeeper, didn't
Right.
handcuff him like a moron, and now I have like a half goalie now.
Right. A
'Cause
third of a goalie.
yeah, Roof is playing Europe now apparently, but he's already conceded 2 goals today, so he might even lose Europa.
Yikes.
Yeah, I don't even think the first half's over yet. So I will not be starting him with confidence in the midweeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on there, but
let's see. Yeah, Tuna. Who are they playing? Djurgården.
some like Danish team or something. I don't know.
Denmark, is that where they are?
Just a guess. No idea.
Oh, Magnus Eriksson plays there. Oh, he had an assist today.
Good for him.
You don't have his old San Jose Earthquakes card?
I don't.
No. Wonder if he actually had one. Oh my God, he does. Just his big head, of course. I'm actually going to pull it up on the screen because I like this card so much. Makes you realize like how much better the new cards are. There he is.
I'll be honest, I didn't even know that he played for San Jose.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. Big DFS. He had set pieces for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Low mint, man.
There's only 9. Huh?
You're not going to win that now, but oh well. Okay. Enough with Magnus. Oh, they're Swedish, Mike Baston just told us.
Okay. It started with a D, so I just assumed Danish.
Simple as that.
What simple man.
Oh, well.
Like Bruges, they're Belgian, right?
They are. They are. I just saw it, or I was just there. Not in Bruges, though. So speaking of that, I meant to bring this up at some point. So we were obviously in Brussels for the SorareData trip. And Anderlecht is like, I don't know if it's actually considered in Brussels, but it's like, if it's not in Brussels, it's like right next to it.
Like a suburb.
So yeah, that's how it feels. I would even call it like a borough of, if I use it. I don't even know.
It's like where Wrigley is or something.
Maybe. But anyway. So we stayed mostly in like I would call it like the touristy part of Brussels. I didn't see a single Anderlecht anything around there. It was so strange to me that like it's a fairly large city with 2 football teams in it, and I couldn't buy stuff anywhere until I went to the team store at the stadium. Seems weird, no? Like,
was there other like a different team merchandise there, or
no?
Nothing.
No.
Isn't there like 3 or 4 teams in Brussels?
USG is there. So I could have gotten my, looking for my Teddy Tuma jersey, but like nothing. The only thing that I saw was like the random Lukaku or De Bruyne Belgium jerseys.
Okay.
But even those were like very few and far between in terms of like the touristy shops.
Huh.
And I was like, surely I would have just bought something from there, but could not. I had to go to the stadium for it. Yeah, I thought it was too. So do you look back to the rewards thing? Do you look at like what other people won during the, like, not people but like, do you go to the SorareData rewards page and you're just like, if I finished, what was the reward above me and below me, and like trying to see if like you got screwed?
Like this week I did, just because I had like a really like a podium finish, and it's nice, like it's fun to see like what would have been if I finished higher. Typically no, though. Like if I finish like in 20th place and win a tier 1 or something, I don't care what the ones above me are.
So you go there with the idea that it's like fun to see what it, because you were like, oh, like had I finished first, oh, that would have been fun, as opposed to the other people who like go
Yeah,
in pure anger, who are just like, what did other people get that I didn't?
it's more out of anger and frustration. Like had I done better, I could have gotten this.
Right.
Um, yeah,
So this was, let's see, you got the Wrench Rare and Malo Gusto Super Rare. That seems pretty
yeah.
good.
Which I did look at Nico, and I think I came out okay here. Like that, like obviously I would have rather had Diogo Costa, which
Sure.
is that was he a tier 1? Uh, I think that was considered a tier 1 rare, right?
It claims it's a star.
Oh, okay. Okay. That makes sense then. So that's the big advantage of uh, winning first in that division as
Sure.
opposed to second, is you get the star rares
Yeah,
instead of
yeah.
tier 1 rare. Because both of those, like Gusto and Nico, I think are very similarly valued. Like there's not a huge difference between them.
Not reasonably, it looks like.
Yeah.
Wow, Yari is down to a tier 2. Ugh. Moldy coming in saying it's now 3-0 Jurgarden. Bet there's a better way
Nice.
to say that.
Roof down to 13.3 points.
Oof.
I didn't play him, so it's okay.
Oh,
It can just go to 0.
yeah. Well, you have 2 of them, so it's 26, right?
One of them's at least a super rare, so I get a little bonus.
Oh, there.
Yeah. Even better, right?
Right. What's 0 times 1.2?
Yeah. Well, that's like one of those things where I made a comment to someone this morning, was like, and I think we even talked about it a couple weeks ago, where like midweek utility, I'd rather not have it on some cards now because of all the rotation.
Yeah.
But like even the guys that like, here's a good example, like Saliba, I have his rare card.
Yep.
And I think he was like even projected to start today, and he did start today. But like last Europa game, he didn't start.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I didn't have enough confidence. And like, if I have someone else that is reasonable, I will usually take that option over, like potentially Saliba could smash today. But I took the more certain guy to start and played him. And I do that a lot. And it's like, now I'm to the point where I'm like not using the card half the time. So I
Sure.
just get rid of the card.
Yeah, that is definitely something that like a lot of people don't consider when they buy cards that they think have midweek utility.
Yeah,
That
and you just are never confident in when they
right.
will or won't play, and then you're just like, all right, I just need to get rid of this guy.
Right. Yeah.
There was another one. I'll think of it. It's another guy where like they have the midweek utility, but I have zero guesses on the rotations that they do. Like sometimes he's playing Europa, sometimes he's playing League. I can't figure it out. It was Checky Lozano at Napoli.
Yeah.
I will not be able to figure out his rotation at all. Like when is he going to start? When is he not going to start? And he's relatively he's decent enough for me to want to use him, but like look at that. Like when is he going to play? It looks like he just won't play.
Well, it looks like definitely when they play Ajax, and
And I get it, like
that
he's
might be
been
it.
hurt and he's come back from being hurt and he's probably getting back into fitness, but like I don't know. I can't figure that out. And
Yeah, that's a tough one for sure. Yeah.
Bit and I've got a couple of Ghent stacks that are just getting ravished.
I will say in terms of the midweek utility, this is something that Sam Ty brought up on the Sorare TV show that I'm on. I guess I'll plug that now. Sorare TV on YouTube. There is a new show called Looking Up with Laird, which was a name I voted against. I voted for half of. But
you didn't go for hooking up with Laird?
yeah.
No. The
That is not
OnlyFans
what it's called.
version.
No, looking
Yeah.
up. But Sam brought up this point about championship players and like how many games there are, and he was saying because they play every midweek, it almost feels like the days in between games are meant for physical recovery instead of like tactical planning.
Oh,
And so when you have teams that like compete in Europe, you usually need to focus a little more on the tactics because a lot of times it's like teams you don't play regularly. And so more work goes into the preparation for it. Whereas if you're in the English Championship and you have all these games to play all the time, and every game is important because you're trying to get promoted, then if they work more on like recovery in between games, then those guys are more likely to play all the time, as opposed to these European, the teams with European competitions that like, sometimes they're big clubs in lesser competitions, so they let the younger guys play a little bit, or it's the Champions League and for most games are big, and so they keep all their starters. So midweek utility definitely comes with plenty of headaches. Like it's not just like, oh yeah, they play midweek, so I'm good. And it's actually significantly worse than that.
yeah.
But like we were saying, like the funny thing is like the best part of midweek utility is when somebody doesn't play in the midweek because you're like, okay, they're going to play this weekend.
Right.
But I don't.
Although I just made that mistake with some it was actually Sven Coombs. I think they subbed him off at like halftime, and it turns out it was like an undisclosed injury, and he's hurt, I guess, and he's been out a couple of games. But like, yeah, the game week 311, he subbed off at half, and I was like, oh, he's definitely starting this weekend. And I don't know if I missed it. I don't think I did. There was nothing before the deadline, and then after the deadline, he was not in the squad. And
This Djurgården team just owns Ghent, apparently.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, this is not ideal either for their place in that group. I don't think.
This is Conference League?
Yeah,
Yeah, surely it's Conference League.
they have. I don't think that they've been doing all that great. Let's see. Yeah, this puts them third.
You mean they don't get to go down into the knockout rounds of the Europa Conference League?
The Super Conference
The
League.
Super-
Yeah.
Conference B? No.
Yeah.
Only a
So the
matter of
only
time.
thing they
before
beat
we
was
get that.
Shamrock.
Shamrock? Oh
Yeah.
yeah, there they are. Yeah. Oh well. That actually had nothing to do with rewards. Although I was going to say, are you under the impression that midweek rewards are worse than weekends?
Oh, of course.
And do you think it should be the case?
Yes.
Why?
Because there's less competition. There's less cards competing in each division. There's I'll walk that back a little bit. And the only reason for that is I have said that I think that there shouldn't be Champion Europe, Challenger Europe, and the midweeks. I think they should do Champions League. Any of the teams that are in Champions League, they can play in that division. There should be a Europa League and there should be a Conference League, and you can play any of the competitions in those divisions. And then the best cards that are licensed in those competitions should be available to win in those, and that would be the incentive of buying those top players on Champions League teams, or even like players in good spots, like maybe in a soft group or something. The incentive would be you can win those, the top cards in the midweeks. But I wouldn't just say like, oh, we're just gonna keep rumbling, like running the normal divisions and keep giving the top prizes there. I don't know.
So my response to that is that the best cards that you can win on the platform are being won by people who are competing against fewer opponents than everywhere else. Meaning like the best rewards are in the unique division. And I realize this is not quite apples to apples, but I'm going to go with it anyway.
Sure.
So you need to beat fewer people to win star super rares.
Yeah.
And so using that logic, if fewer people are competing in the midweeks, and theoretically there are better cards in the midweek because it's the teams that have European competition and they tend to be more expensive, shouldn't we be giving better rewards in the midweek?
I hate the analogy because if that was the case, you would be like, if you were not rewarding those cards to the unique players, you would be so decentivizing people from buying them. Nobody would buy them, and the prices of those cards would drop to zero.
But didn't you buy Messi so you could compete in the midweek?
I mean, not really.
No.
That wasn't not really the
Obviously
thought
not.
process.
Yeah. Yeah, I just thought the argument that like you're competing against fewer people, though, I don't think flies, because those are the midweeks are when like the best players on the platform play,
Yeah.
theoretically.
I mean, theoretically, but not really. I mean,
Yes.
Santos is playing tonight.
They're the best team in Mexico now. No.
No.
I mean, they might be by the end.
You know, we'll find out.
They're in it. Got to be in it to win it.
Yeah.
You know who's not playing? Atlas.
Yeah, they're not.
When did they come back? January?
Yeah, I mean, sometime after the World Cup. I don't know. I don't know if a date was announced or not.
None of my guys play for them anyway. Play anymore anyway. R.I.P. Anderson Santa Maria. So we talked about doing this for one of our newsletters, which I think we will do, of just like comparing midweek and weekends. But it does feel like when people get bad midweek rewards, they like know that rewards are bad in the midweek, and then they turn out to be bad, and everyone's like, why is this so bad? It's like, well, we knew. Go sell it. It's okay.
Do they usually have like the good cards in the pools though? Like, are the pools like still the same?
I don't even know.
Yeah, that'd be a fun one, because like maybe they should just like, if they're really throttling them, then they should really just like set the expectations, show the pools as they really are, and then
it is strange to me that they don't do that. That they can't be completely transparent with the pools.
Maybe they are, and it's legitimately is a random number generator that like sets where the top card comes from. Like,
but like Kimmich is the top of the All-Star Rare Pro tier right now.
Yeah.
For the midweek. But like we know he's probably not going to be the first place prize because he was this past weekend.
Yeah.
So why is he there?
I mean, maybe he could be one.
I mean, but it's certainly
probably
possible.
Not.
I don't know if that like cooldown thing that they told us they were doing is actually still happening.
Yeah.
So like, I guess
that's another weird thing, is like when they tell us those like details, you don't know when they are still like in effect and not in effect anymore. Like, there was the comment about like 50% of like card issuance will be rewards or whatever. And there was like so many questions about that. And it was like, well, they said that a year ago. Is that still true? And I don't know.
I remember people talking about that because it really came up with how few of these star limiteds are rewarded.
Yeah.
And so there was like, 40% of the card supply will be rewards. And everyone took that as 40% of every player that's minted, which may be the case, because that's one of those things that they told us something, and then people had multiple understandings of that, and there's zero follow-up of like, no, this is what we meant. And obviously we still have no idea, but yeah. I'm guessing that a lot more of the Joe Numari supply, although he's not even minted anymore, but no
team or no club.
Let me see. Let me just pull up whatever my last tier 3 limited reward was. Here it is. Yun Suk Young. If anybody wants them, I'm happy to sell them. Oh, never mind. Apparently, I already sold them. And he sold twice since. It's been a week. Anyway, so I'm guessing most of that, like 80% of his supply is going to be a reward because like they got a lot of tier 3s to get rid of. But they're not going to give away 400 Mbappes.
Yeah. I don't know if I like that or not. Like,
which part?
The part where they're not rewarding as many stars and they're just like, I guess, forcing more like lower tier rewards. Like on one hand, yeah, it probably helps the value of those cards stay high.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, in theory, they're protecting the price of those cards a little bit, because I guarantee you if they rewarded 400 Mbappes, the price of them would only go down.
Sure.
Which is good for people that hold those cards, but obviously, like, you compete so that you can win those cards as well. So it's a tough one, and I'm glad I don't have to do it, have to be in charge of any of that stuff. And I know that like I would probably feel different if I was like a limited whale and I was competing for the top 50 in some of those divisions. I would probably have a little bit different opinion than I just gave. So yeah.
I think people, I can't like decide how I feel about it, to be honest, in terms of like the number of star rewards that are actually given out. Like, I think for limited right now, I think there is enough supply. Now, I want to preface this by saying I haven't looked at this at all. Mm-hmm. And so it could be completely wrong. But I believe if they actually rewarded 400 limited of every player every year, meaning 40% of the supply of that player, then do you take it from the actual minted supply? Like, is it 40% of the minted supply or 40% of 1,000? If it's 40% of 1,000, I think every reward could be tier 0 and tier 1, and we'd have enough. And I think you go bankrupt doing that.
Yeah.
And then having to rely on selling tier 2 and tier 3s. Like, fundamentally, that's the point. That tier 0 cards are the highest profit margin cards that they have. And so rewarding more of them makes them less profitable. Like, very simple.
Sure.
And so I understand why they don't do it. But also, like, should Mbappe have as many rewards as I forget who the player was already. Whoever. Terrence Boyd I won as a tier 2. Should there be the same number of Terrence Boyd rewards as Kylian Mbappe?
No, there should be obviously something special about, winning the Terrence Mbappe Boyd card, but you thought I was going to go the other way with that?
Mm-hmm.
No.
What's funny is when I won that card, I saw the USA and I was like, huh. And it said forward. And I was like, who do we got here? Terrence Boyd was not on my list of the number of names that went through.
Yeah. The only one I would even think of that's like licensed is like, well, now I guess get Josh Sargent or Haji Wright.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what division was it in?
Kickoff limited. So all-star.
Oh, okay. So basically all-star.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess there's a whole bunch that could be from MLS. Like Paul Areola or something. Well, I guess he only has a midfielder card.
I don't remember what he is. What's funny is trying to think of what the first. Like, I was convinced it wasn't an MLS card for some reason. But I mean, it doesn't matter. I would happily trade in my Terrence Boyd for a Kylian Mbappe.
You mentioned you sold a card. a tier 3 limited for like $1 or something.
Sounds about right.
Do you think that it makes sense to sell those?
I do it for my own. It's not sanity, but my
Like, I don't
own.
want to look at you anymore.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit. No, to be honest, my mind completely changed on selling limiteds for $1 when I started playing baseball, and that there are a lot of like limited baseball cards that sell for like $3, and those were more attractive to me than a $3 football limited that I was never going to use.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have some pretty good limited cards, football limited cards, and so these are cards I literally would never use, and yet if I could turn that into a baseball card I might use, then I want to do that. And so yeah, I basically for limited cards, I actually probably do this for rares also. I don't win as many rares anymore, but for limited cards that I win, I pretty much almost always sell them or try to, and I just post them for floor for some, whatever the next lowest decimal is that I can pull off from the floor price, and I go with that. And yeah, I don't really have a need for those cards.
Do you play underdog or specialist limited
Every week? Yes. So tier 3 limiteds are not how you win underdog. Like I'm winning
specialist though? You need those under 40 guys.
Absolutely. And I win a lot of guys that average 41 that really are just like I went to put my lineups in today and I was like 41, 41, 40. And I'm like, this sucks. Like these cards are.
You went underdog with guys like De La Cruz when he drops down to 50.
Yes.
And then he bangs out a 90.
That's exactly what I did this week. Like this current game week. He's my captain.
Wait, De La Cruz was in underdog this week?
Let me see. I'm fairly certain.
And he scored a 100 last night.
I take it back. I had him at specialist.
Okay. Because it was a few weeks ago that he was underdog eligible, but he's only crushed since then. Like
You're right. Yes, I did play him in underdog previously. But I mean, that's how you win underdog, is like guys who like just are struggling but are very good players. Whereas the tier 3 limiteds that I win, like I'm not putting guys in with an L15 of 22, but that's who I'm winning.
Did you see my message that I sent last night regarding Ethan Horvath?
Yes.
So that's a fun one to talk about. He was like, he had like an L15 of like 43 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or no. He had an L15 of 40.
He was under. 40, he was right
on the dot after last week's game. And the midweek, if he would have had a game, he would have been specialist eligible L40 under L40 or whatever, or under L15 under 40.
Yes.
They did not have a game. Then they have a game this weekend. But I guess the way their algorithm works is it just moves on to the next game week, like because he had a clean sheet last weekend, so it took the 70 and it put it into the average, and now he's got like a L15 of 45 or something, and it's like can't use him. I guess you can use him, but he's not under 40 anymore.
Yeah, so he replaced a 25.8 with a 71. And then now and like now you don't even want to use him.
No. I think he's got an okay matchup. He's at home at least against like a team I think they're favored to beat, but
QPR.
Yeah. Being able to use your goalkeeper as the L40 or L15 under 40 guy is like such a big advantage, and not having to waste that on like an extra field player.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I just never have goalkeepers that seem to like fall into that range and stay there.
Yeah.
Tender hot.
Yeah, I guess our chat's being taken over. What is wrong with people, man?
It's being out with illness and under 40. Sutalo. Wow, Sutalo was under 40. That's crazy.
That's I almost like don't even want to believe it.
Was he like being subbed in or something?
I don't know. I'm trying to get rid of these random messages we're getting. Apologies for those listening.
Martin once said that he just played his Porto and Tokyo stacks, and I'm happy with a low tier 3 threshold, honestly. Yeah. It's tough when, like, even in these midweeks, like, even like the Champions League team, you got a team like Porto who typically just like crush their league, and then now they got to step up into Champions League, and it's like they don't really crush as much. Ajax being another good example, who just dominate their league, and then. But I think that that's like a fun kind of variance to the game where, you know what, your team's not always gonna smash.
Unless you have the Lord, then you win your Champions League group.
Yeah, but he's not smashing.
That's true. He is not.
He's actually been pretty much awful.
He's been so bad that I can't believe nobody has asked if I bought him.
Did you?
No. But it looks just like it if I did.
I played him somewhere weird this week. I was like underdog or specialist or something. Like he fell into a category, and I was like, yeah, I'll put him there.
He's probably like over 60 for a while, and you were like, oh, I don't want to waste my over 60 on Hans.
Right.
No, he fits right in. I will say, shout out to Cecilia for somehow averaging 59, what feels like the last month and a half, even though he's just smashing. That would work.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For
did you play him in specialist?
I play him anytime I can. But yeah, let's see, what is he up to now? Oh no, 61. Ceci, no.
I don't know. Maybe you'll get lucky and he won't have a midweek game or something, and then or a weekend game, because I know some of the Asian teams don't play this weekend.
59 maybe. Why are we showing something different? You would think that like calculating an average would be easy.
Well, it's 2 to 16, right?
Right. Why do we do this? Oh, Cecilia's still 59. Okay. But
it's not actually. Is it actually the average of their games played, or is it the average across those game weeks?
It should just be their last 5 game weeks. But like their team's last 5 game weeks, not their last 5 appearances.
But like the Horvath situation, they didn't do the calculation until a week later, a game week later. So it didn't take the 70. It didn't pull the 70 in until. So his actually is an L15, right?
Now it is, yes.
Now it is. The when it was 40, it was L2 to 16, and his L2 to 16 was 40.
Gotcha.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't, but we at least understand it.
All right. Glad I understand that now.
It's just so frustrating.
It doesn't help me any, but I'm glad.
No, definitely not. How many Ethan Horvath rare cards do you think there are?
40.
Oh. They're 99. Which seems like impressive because he hasn't had new cards in like forever, right?
So was that 2 years worth?
Let's see. He's got 2020 and 2021, like 20 and 2021 cards.
Oh, he's got the 1819s. Like, he's got the super old ones.
Yeah. But nothing since then. But like they clearly like pumped out as many as they could. And then,
I mean, American goalkeeper playing abroad.
Right.
Of course, people want to buy them.
Playing abroad or just
he
was abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a card I ever owned.
I think kind of all the OG US players have one.
You definitely do. All of you.
Because I think that very first year too, he was supposed to be the starter at Bruges until they brought in Miggs.
Yep.
He was supposed to be the guy.
Who was it that? Oh, was it Surface who bought one like the day that Migs transferred or something like that the day before.
Yeah, it was Zara that sold it to him. He was like, yeah, I guess he told him that Horvat's definitely the guy, and then like
Yeah.
the next day the transfer went through or something. Like, there was a funny story because I think that they both got into it a little bit over it, and then like obviously they made up after that. But
Sure.
it was like one of
Surface has done okay since
the
then.
early drama from Sorare.
Yeah, I would have traded in a Horvath at that time for Surface's subsequent success on the platform. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need to buy a Horvath.
I'll sell you one.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
For your second division team. I'm in a weird situation where I can't play Challenger and I can't play second division this weekend unless I make some changes, which in theory I could play both of them this weekend, but I can't play either of them unless I make some changes.
Changes meaning buying cards.
Buying or selling, or buying and selling.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh. That's a tricky one. Have you tried our new lineup suggester yet?
I have.
I waited an hour to bring it up. I should have brought it up much earlier.
Yeah, it told me not to play Messi this weekend. So,
is that good or bad?
I have no idea. They said that he's gonna do a special training on Saturday behind
I saw that,
doors,
yeah.
and that will determine whether he plays on Sunday or not. And I just can't think of a more perfect thing. You know, Saturday after the deadline, there's this secret training session. Sounds like he's probably starting, but
that's what you think. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, I think it sounds like he's starting, but am I willing to like?
You have no idea.
Am I willing to risk a really good lineup on that? Not really.
Not really. So I pull up on the screen. Apologies for those who are listening, but if you go to the lineup builder now, anywhere on SorareData, this actually works for your own lineups or anyone else's. For all single scarcity and regular divisions, meaning All-Star, U23, and then Champion Europe, Challenger, Asian America, we have this suggest a lineup feature. Let me see. I don't have any saved, right? Where literally it just suggests a lineup based off of your cards. And there are a bunch of different settings that you can change, such as making L15 more important than L5, or the matchup probabilities, as we call them, or the matchup indicators. And you can just make the best lineups that you want. And if you want to just take someone out, you can do that. And it'll give you the next highest ranked person based off of these settings, which you can also save for yourself and customize so that you can just choose one. I haven't done it yet. But
can I make a feature request?
Please.
I would put a button down there, like where you have include, exclude injuries and stuff like that. Do exclude U23 players, because if I'm building like a team and I don't want that, like if I want to suggest a team that's not going to break like my U23 squad.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my suggestion to you would be to build your U23 squad first.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then all of these guys will be excluded.
Okay. So then I'm basically doing the prioritization myself.
Correct. So we were talking about that, actually, about how to prioritize, or whether like we should put in some sort of priority, or someone else have the user like make a list.
Mm-hmm.
And
the easiest thing is just build it and then save it, and then
so if I just saved this one, theoretically none of these guys, I think Tresor is the one who always gets suggested. So he will not come up in any of the choices because he's already saved. But you can make it so that they do include them, and therefore then he shows up. And if you save, then he'll be taken out of the other one. But yeah, new feature. We're obviously still working on it. As you can see there, that little beta button there. But our plan is to include underdog, specialist, multi-scarcities when we get there, like rare pro or super rare or unique, because you can use different scarcity cards on those. So just something we're working on, but that's new. Everybody go check that out. Give it a try this weekend, and just, I would say, like, kind of have an idea of what you think your lineup is going to be, and then see if the suggestion is close to it.
I would say this: don't use it this weekend. So I'm gonna be the anti SorareData guy. Do
Okay.
not use it this weekend. Look at Jimmer's results this coming weekend, because I think he's going to use it as his dartboard approach for lineup building.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically in his limited and rare divisions, look at his results. If they're good, then use the builder.
So the success is built off of the suggestions and not whether he has good enough cards or not.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And whether SorareData knows anything about some of the old cards that he has.
Sure. Yeah.
And how much they know about how guys are playing in the, second division of Germany and other weird divisions that he has cards of.
Right. That were not those cards when he bought them.
There's a supply of 6 of this guy.
Right. And the entire gallery is at level 10, except his rewards that he wins.
The funniest thing that I saw was he showed me screenshots of he had Costa and Mignolet this midweek, who both scored 100.
Yeah.
And when he showed me the screenshots, I knew exactly what level his goalkeepers were.
Just super.
They both
just
scored
they were
110
perfect.
points. I was like, oh, you have level 20 goalkeepers. Nice. Good for you. Never missed training once.
Wild.
It's wild to have two goalkeepers in your gallery. And he has Ochoa, who got an assist last night. The old goalkeeper hat trick right there. An assist, a clean sheet, and a penalty saved.
Yep, that'll work. It's so funny to see that. Just 110.
Yeah, nice rounded up number.
Yep. Nice work, Jimmer. Okay, I think we have gone long enough. So thank you to everybody who has joined us. If you guys would please hit the like button below, that would be very much appreciated. I'll be back at the beginning of next week with Sean for the SorareData Strategy Show, and then Andy and I back next Thursday for SorareAndrews. So thank you again, everyone, and good luck this weekend.